You know that feeling, don't you? That's that primal knot in your stomach, the way your heart just seems to pound against your ribs, the careful choice of clothes, those polished shoes, reflecting this silent hope you have inside. It's the big interview.
We've all been there, right? Or, we know we're heading there eventually. But what if, on top of all that sort of universal anxiety, you're facing this pivotal moment, this make or break chance in a language you're still, working hard to master? Suddenly, the stakes don't just feel high, they feel uh,
Wow.
astronomically high, dizzying
This
almost.
it's a huge extra layer, isn't it? Just immense, a challenge many native speakers, well, I don't even have to think about it. That added cognitive load,
Mm.
needing to perform not just your skills and qualifications, but your language ability too, that can be incredibly daunting. It introduces this unique kind of pressure where, like, every word, every grammar point, it just feels magnified. Absolutely magnified. And that precise intersection, the language challenge, and the high-stakes performance, that's exactly what we're getting into today. This isn't just a quick story. It feels more like a detailed blueprint for navigating those really overwhelming challenges. We're going on a deep dive into Sammy's journey, a story called The Big Interview.
Mm.
It's a really compelling piece, I think, that shows the link between learning a language, building confidence, and actually using it in the real world professionally. Ultimately, it's just a powerful reminder that overcoming hurdles, seizing opportunities, stepping outside your comfort zone, these are universal themes. Whether you're learning English for your career or just tackling any new, scary professional goal.
Right. So our mission today really is to dig deep and pull out the most potent, the most actionable bits of wisdom from Sammy's experience. We want to sort of peel back the layers and understand, what exactly did he do? What practical strategies helped him succeed? And what mental hurdles did he face? Crucially, how did he overcome them? Not just face them, but beat them. The main goal here is to give you, the listener, some genuinely transferable insights, strategies you can use in your own language learning, sure, but also broadly for your career goals. Whether that's navigating a new language, prepping for a huge presentation, or, just facing any challenge that feels intimidating and demands your best.
Yeah, and what makes this particular deep dive feel special is the source material itself. It's this really engaging audio script, and it uses a story format to teach these powerful lessons. It's not a dry textbook, not at all. It's a narrative. And by showing these insights through Sammy's experience, which is so relatable, the learning becomes, well, not just informative, but memorable. It resonates emotionally. So settle in. This is going to be a story-driven deep dive, captivating story, practical takeaways. Let's unpack it.
Definitely. It really shows how effective good storytelling can be for conveying complex ideas, making them stick, and actually inspiring action. By seeing Sammy's struggles and his wins, you, the listener, can kind of put yourself in his shoes and internalize the lessons maybe more deeply than just getting abstract advice.
Okay, so our story kicks off, like many good stories do, that spark of a new opportunity. Picture Sammy. He's a student, diligent, but pretty typical, right? He's in his classroom. His teacher, Mr. Thomas, comes in, not with the usual books, but holding up this bright flyer, catches everyone's eye, and the announcement. It electrifies the room. An internship at a local company, a reputable one. Now, this isn't just any internship. It comes with two very specific requirements. And they're telling, I think, basic English skills and confidence. That pair. It says so much about what employers look for, especially in entry-level people.
hmm And it's fascinating how often those two things, basic skills and confidence, are paired up, especially for those first jobs, those entry-level chances, like this internship. Think about it. Basic skills, that's the foundation, right? You need a minimum level of ability, understand instructions, communicate simple ideas. But confidence, that's like the fuel. That's what lets those basic skills actually come out, lets them shine, lets them make an impact. Without confidence, even great skills can just stay hidden, masked by nerves, by the fear of messing up. It's like the psychological bridge between knowing what to do and actually doing it well when the pressure's on.
That's such a critical distinction. And this announcement, the story tells us, it hits Sammy hard. His heart starts beating a little faster.
Yeah.
Well, that's such a relatable detail, isn't it? It perfectly captures that immediate, almost involuntary mix. Excitement about the possibility, but also that creeping worry about the challenge it represents. He feels the pull of the potential, but that internal doubt, that little voice, it's already piping up.
Yeah, that gut reaction is absolutely key. It highlights that universal human thing of facing an opportunity that pushes you out of your comfort zone. How many times have we felt that? That flutter in the chest, pulled towards something exciting but scared we're not good enough? Recognizing that physical and emotional response, it's more than just noticing a feeling. It's the first step to dealing with it. And the deeper insight here is maybe about how you reframe that response. Instead of thinking, oh no, pounding heart, cold hands, and I'm scared, I'm not ready, you can try to see it differently. Like, okay, my body's just getting energized for this challenge. It's prepping for peak performance. It's not about getting rid of nerves that's often impossible. It's about changing their meaning from a threat that stops you to a resource you can use. That's a critical skill for any high-pressure situation, interview, presentation, whatever.
That's a brilliant way to frame it. Shifting the perspective. And Sammy, to his credit, he doesn't let that initial fear completely shut him down. After class, he takes what might be the bravest step in the whole story. He goes up to Mr. Thomas, and he asks that incredibly vulnerable question. Sir, do you think I can apply? You can almost hear the hesitation, right? The self-doubt, the hope mixed with fear. It's not a question about logistics, like where to get the form or the deadline. No, it's deeper. It's about his worthiness, his readiness. Does he believe in himself?
And this moment, it raises such an important question for all of us, doesn't it? How often do we miss out on really transformative opportunities just because we don't feel ready enough or qualified enough? Sammy's hesitant question just embodies that common hesitation. The story kind of implies that opportunities often show up before we feel totally prepared. And if you wait for that feeling of complete readiness, well, you might just let valuable chances slip away. It's a powerful call to action, really. Step forward, ask the question, show interest, even when you're unsure. Sometimes, just asking is the biggest act of courage.
And wow, what a response he gets. Mr. Thomas, clearly a perceptive and supportive mentor. He doesn't hesitate at all. He just gives this warm, reassuring smile and says, "You're more ready than you think, Sammy." That's such a pivotal moment, isn't it? Just a few simple words, but they act as this profound external validation. It's like a switch flips, lighting up potential that Sammy just couldn't see in himself.
Yeah, the power of that external validation is huge, almost immeasurable sometimes, especially coming from someone you trust, like a teacher or a mentor. Mr. Thomas sees something in Sammy that Sammy himself can't quite grasp yet. And this isn't just generic encouragement like you can do it. It's specific. It's a mentor offering a crucial outside perspective, acting like a mirror, reflecting capabilities Sammy might be overlooking or downplaying. Psychologically, this can give a massive boost to what we call self-efficacy, your belief in your own ability to succeed in specific situations. When someone you respect says, "You're ready," it can be the spark you need to overcome that self-doubt and actually take action. Which makes us think, right? How can you, the listener, actively look for those kinds of empowering voices in your life? And just as important, how can you be that voice for someone else who might be doubting themselves, seeing their potential before they do?
That's a great point. It's a two-way street, definitely. And speaking of readiness, let's circle back to those requirements Mr. Thomas mentioned. Basic English skills and confidence. Okay. When we hear basic, a lot of people might jump to, perfect grammar or a huge vocabulary. From your perspective, what does basic English really mean in a practical career sense? Especially for an entry-level thing like an internship, and what skills maybe get overestimated for these kinds of roles?
That's an excellent question, and yeah, the nuance is key here. In that initial professional context, basic English isn't about academic perfection, not at all. It often means something more like functional fluency. So, can you understand simple, direct instructions? Can you introduce yourself clearly? Can you express basic needs, ideas, ask questions? Can you handle those initial, fairly simple conversations about work tasks? It's really about navigating those first interactions and, maybe most importantly, showing you're willing to learn and get better. What often gets overestimated, probably the need for fancy vocabulary or really complex sentences. For an entry-level job, someone who can just get their main point across and shows they're eager to learn, they often do better than someone with maybe a bigger vocabulary but less clarity or confidence. The focus is on practical communication, not linguistic fireworks.
Okay, so practical communication, not perfection. How does that connect to the second requirement, confidence? Especially since the story highlights confidence right alongside skills, because it seems like Sammy built that up even before his English was perfect.
Precisely. Confidence, in this context, it shows up in ways beyond just perfect grammar or accent. It's really about presence, how you carry yourself. It's about making eye contact, speaking clearly, audibly. And crucially, it's about having the guts to speak even when you know you might make a mistake. It's the willingness to engage, to participate, to try, and then to recover gracefully if you stumble over a word. Sammy's story shows beautifully that confidence can sometimes be even more important, more impactful than perfect fluency, especially early on. Why? Because confidence signals things like teachability, resilience, a positive attitude, all stuff employers really value. It tells them you're not just capable of speaking some English, but that you're capable of learning, adapting, and growing in the role, even with language challenges. It also affects what language experts call the affective filter, basically, the emotional barrier to learning and speaking. Higher filter, more anxiety, less confidence, it blocks language use. Sammy, by building confidence, lowered his filter, letting his basic English flow better.
That makes so much sense. It's the belief behind the words, not just the words themselves, that gives them impact. So Sammy gets this crucial validation from Mr. Thomas, this push forward, and it immediately sends him down this path of very deliberate, intentional preparation. And this important journey starts with a classic, super effective strategy, the buddy system.
Oh, it's a fantastic approach. Overwhelmingly effective, particularly for language learning and practicing skills. Sammy's immediate action calling Lina for help just highlights how important it is to have a practice partner. And this isn't just about casual chat, it's about creating a safe space. Supportive, non-judgmental, where mistakes aren't just okay, they're expected. They're part of learning. Practicing together gives you immediate feedback, and it simulates a real conversation. The pauses, the interruptions, needing to think on your feet, it prepares you for dynamic interaction, not just reciting lines.
And they dive right into the core stuff, focusing their energy on rehearsing those absolutely crucial but often scary interview questions. Like, tell me about yourself. Why do you want this job? What are your strengths and weaknesses? These aren't random picks. They are the bedrock of pretty much any interview, no matter the language or the field.
Yes, and the source really shows the value of what we call deliberate practice here. They're breaking down this big, scary thing, the interview, into smaller, manageable, repeatable parts, tackling specific, common questions. By practicing these over and over, Sami isn't just memorizing answers, he's internalizing sentence structures, picking up useful vocabulary for professional settings, and getting a feel for the rhythm of a typical interview. This focused repetition, even though it seems simple, is absolutely key. It builds both language fluency and, maybe even more crucial, that deep-seated confidence for the conversation. It's not about being perfect overnight, but about making responses more automatic, reducing the mental effort needed when you're under pressure.
And the story gives us this wonderful, funny example from their practice. Sammy says, totally earnestly, my strong is hardworking and my weak is rice. It's just such a charming, honest, and completely relatable mistake, isn't it? That sudden bit of humor. What's really important is how they react. Sammy and Lina, they laughed, corrected, and tried again. This isn't just a funny bit. It's a lesson in itself.
Absolutely. That rice moment, as funny as it is, was definitely not a failure. It was a memorable, humorous learning opportunity. It perfectly shows a core idea of the growth mindset. Mistakes aren't setbacks. They're not signs you're not good enough. They're integral, invaluable parts of learning and growing. In fact, sometimes the funniest, most unexpected mistakes are the ones that stick in your memory the best, helping you learn the correct way more effectively. For you listeners, this is vital for any skill you're learning, especially language. See your errors, your stumbles, your own rice moments as useful data. They show you where to improve. Don't see them as reasons to stop or beat yourself up. Embrace the awkwardness, laugh about it, figure out the correction with curiosity, and then crucially keep going with renewed focus. That's cycle. Try, see what happens, make a mistake, correct, try again. That's the engine of real learning and mastery.
So that's the collaborative side, clearly super helpful. But Sammy also did some really effective independent practice, showed amazing initiative. He wasn't just leaning on Lina. The story says he practiced meticulously in front of the mirror, focused not just on words, but his whole delivery, his presentation. He even caught himself mid-sentence, correcting himself. Good morning, my name is Sammy. I am very excited to be here.
Yeah, what's really impressive there is the range of his approach. Mirror practice is so powerful, it gives you immediate, real-time feedback on your nonverbals, eye contact, posture, expressions, gestures. It reinforces that interviews aren't just about what you say, but how you say it, the whole impression you create. And that self-correction, excite to excited, that's also really significant. It shows he's developing self-awareness quickly, actively analyzing the language's details, even when alone. That kind of self-monitoring, it's a hallmark of really effective learners.
And he took that independent practice even further, adopting this really methodical approach, recording his voice, then listening back carefully for mistakes. The narrative highlights that, because of this, each time, he sounded a little better.
That is a perfect example of creating a powerful internal feedback loop. Recording yourself forces you to listen objectively. You can catch subtle things, maybe a mispronounced sound, a hesitant tone, an awkward pause, things you might totally miss while you're speaking. It's an incredibly effective self-coaching tool. Turns passive practice into active learning. Combining this tough self-correction, the recording, the mirror with the feedback from Lina, that created this powerful synergistic learning dynamic. It definitely sped up his improvement. For you, the listener, think about it. How can you create similar feedback loops in your own learning, whatever the skill? Are you recording yourself? Asking for objective feedback from people you trust. It's not just about practice, it's about deliberate practice with feedback.
And his progress wasn't just something he felt. It was so obvious that even his mother playfully teased him, "You speak like a newsreader now," which is just such a wonderful, affirming, and funny sign of how far he'd really come in a pretty short time.
That external acknowledgement, even if it's playful, is incredibly validating. It's concrete proof of progress, and that's a huge motivator. What's also really telling is Sammy's response. Humble but aspirational. Not yet, Amma, but maybe one day.
This shows this great mix of self-awareness, he knows where he is, combined with this clear ambition for the future. He gets that the journey doesn't end with one win, it's continuous growth. That kind of grounded outlook is really healthy for any learner aiming high. Reminds us that mastery is a lifelong thing, not just a destination you arrive at.
It really is. Shows he's realistic but still aiming high. So if we step back and look at this whole preparation phase, practicing with Lina, the mirror work, the recording, the correction, it's clearly about more than just building language fluency, isn't it? It seems much, much more about building that crucial, deep sense of self-assurance for a high-stakes pressure situation. Exactly right. This kind of deliberate, varied, and thorough prep builds profound confidence, almost unshakable confidence. When you've consciously practiced something specific over and over, when you've made mistakes and fixed them in a safe space, you're not just more familiar with the language, you're more familiar with the experience of performing under pressure. That familiarity really cuts down anxiety. It lets your actual abilities shine through instead of being hidden by self-doubt. You're building a kind of mental muscle memory for the situation, turning something potentially terrifying into a challenge you know you can handle. It's not about becoming a perfect speaker overnight. It's about becoming a confident, resilient communicator who can navigate tricky, real-world interactions. And it makes you ask yourself, right, what kind of newsreader voice, that voice of clarity, confidence, mastery, are you trying to develop in your own field? Public speaking, coding, leadership, whatever it is.
The journey's been intense, planned out, full of practice. Now, finally, it's the big day, the culmination of all that work. The source gives us this really vivid picture of Sami's pre-interview rituals. He put on his best shirt, carefully polished his shoes, and even did one last time with Lina before going into that imposing office building.
Yeah, those rituals, they're much more than just superstition. They give huge psychological comfort. They serve this critical grounding function. They're tangible things you can control. They mark the importance of the event, help you prepare mentally and emotionally. The act of carefully preparing your appearance, for instance. That's a powerful way to signal to yourself, I'm ready, I'm taking this seriously, I'm putting my best foot forward. It's a form of self-care, self-respect that really helps foster a positive mindset. It's a way to assert some control when a lot feels uncertain.
And even with all that preparation, all those rituals, the nerves are still there, very real. The scene in the waiting area is just so relatable. Sami's hands cold, knees bouncing. That's the body's totally natural response to high pressure, isn't it? That adrenaline surge.
Absolutely, and it's so important for listeners to get this. Feeling nervous is not a sign of weakness. It doesn't mean you didn't prepare enough. Nerves are perfectly normal. They're a hardwired physiological response to stress, anticipation, perceiving high stakes. Even the most experienced pros feel them. The key isn't trying to eliminate nerves entirely. That's often impossible, counterproductive even. The key is to acknowledge them, understand where they come from, and crucially have strategies ready to manage their impact. That lets you perform through the nerves instead of being paralyzed by them.
And Sami does exactly that. The source says he whispers two simple but really powerful things to himself. Breathe, and you've come this far.
Those are incredibly effective techniques, universally accessible too. Breathe focuses on the physical. Deep, controlled breathing can literally slow your heart rate, regulate your nervous system, bring you back to the present. It counteracts that fight or flight response. It's like a quick neural reset. You've come this far. Now that's a powerful mental affirmation. It's self-talk. rooted in cognitive behavioral ideas. It reminds you of all the effort, the progress, the resilience you've already shown. It shifts your focus from fear of an uncertain future to the concrete strength of your past achievements. It anchors you in your own proven ability.
And that strategic self-talk connects to something really important. The cumulative effect of all that deep preparation Sami did. Nerves are normal, sure, but his extensive prep gives him this crucial safety net. It lets him access and use everything he learned, even when his body's feeling the pressure.
Precisely. Preparation doesn't make nerves vanish, but it fundamentally changes how you respond to them and the impact they have. When you've thoroughly practiced, internalized the material, anticipated challenges, those jitters are much less likely to throw you off course. Instead, you can tap into that deep well of knowledge, skill, confidence you've built up. The preparation creates this strong foundation of competence. So even if your hands are cold or your knees are bouncing, your mind can still work effectively, retrieve info, form coherent answers. It allows you to perform through the nerves, not be crippled by them. It's about resilience under pressure.
So when Sami tells himself you've come this far, it's clearly not just about the physical distance to the interview room, is it? It's a much deeper metaphor. Represents all the effort, the progress, the small wins he's already racked up on his personal journey.
It's entirely about the journey, yes, not just the destination right in front of him. It's a profound reminder of every practice session, every mistake corrected, every moment of doubt overcome, every small victory along the way. It's an exercise in metacognition, thinking about your own thinking and learning. For you, the listener, when you face your next big challenge, pause and reflect. How can you remind yourself of your journey, your past successes? Think about the skills you've gained, the obstacles you've overcome, the knowledge you've gathered. Acknowledging that personal history of resilience and learning, that can be an incredibly powerful source of strength in high-pressure moments. It anchors you, reminds you you're not starting from scratch.
Which brings us right to the moment of truth, the culmination.
Yeah.
The interview itself. In action, the lady calls out clearly, Sami Ahmed. And despite the cold hands, the bouncing knees, Sami stands up, avoids tripping, enters the office confidently. The interviewer is smiling, a good sign. And Sami, after taking that deliberate grounding breath, delivers his perfectly practiced intro.
That confident opening is a direct result of his preparation and his conscious effort to manage those nerves. He's not just reciting words, he's giving a concise, informative, impactful introduction. Listen again. Good morning. My name is Sami Ahmed. I'm a student at Green Valley School. I am hardworking, curious, and always ready to learn. Notice how he highlights positive traits relevant to an internship. Hardworking, curious, ready to learn. It's a strong start. Sets a positive tone immediately. Shows his capability beyond just English skills. It shows he can control that crucial first impression.
The interviewer then asks that common but vital question. Why do you want to work with us? And Sami's answer, it's not just good, it's layered. Hits the professional notes, but then adds the surprising, really heartwarming twist. He says, I want to learn real skills. I want to use my English and improve myself. Excellent reasons, very professional. But then he adds that unexpected personal line. And I want to buy a gift for my mother for my first salary.
This is where authenticity just shines through. Where Sami's answer goes beyond the typical interview script. The first two reasons, valid, professional, expected. But the third, deeply personal, human, disarming. It shows a motivation beyond just career or money. It reveals his character, his values, that sense of family, gratitude. That kind of vulnerability, when it's authentic and appropriate, can create this immediate, powerful human connection. The interviewer's warm laugh and saying, it's a lovely reason, confirms it resonated. Made Sami memorable in a way a perfect robotic answer never could. That's emotional intelligence, knowing how and when to connect like that.
It definitely humanizes him. Makes him more than just qualifications on paper. A person with depth, real motivation, really makes you wonder, for all of us, when is it not just okay, but actually helpful to go off script like that?
This is a perfect example of when it's more than okay. It's beneficial, even strategic. Authenticity in an interview means strategically bringing your real self, your genuine motives, your personality to the table, even in a formal setting. Sami didn't just recite something, he infused it with his genuine why, a purpose that connects on a deeper level than just, I want this job. That creates a connection a polished but impersonal answer might miss. Shows you're not just a list of skills, but a motivated person with a story, real aspirations. The key is strategic authenticity. Know your audience, share what's relevant and appropriate, but still deeply personal. Be memorable for the right reasons. Let your character enhance your professional image.
And then comes that classic tough question, the one that trips up even experienced people. What's your biggest weakness? Sami pauses, thinks, and then unexpectedly blurts out, chicken biryani.
Slight chuckle.
Right.
That's the kind of moment that could totally derail things. Or, like Sami shows, actually lift the interview, build rapport, make it memorable. That initial silence, then the shared laugh, it's a brilliant, spontaneous example of how human connection and humor can overcome a slip-up. It immediately says, okay, he's not a robot, he has a sense of humor. And crucially, he has the self-awareness and composure to make a mistake and recover right there in real time. That moment, even though it was an error, actually showcases amazing soft skills.
And his immediate correction is just key. Shows incredible quick thinking, self-awareness. He quickly follows up. I mean, in English, my weakness is speaking too fast when I'm nervous. And the interviewer's response is so telling, so affirming. Thank you for being honest.
Exactly. This biryani moment and Sami's quick, clear recovery, they perfectly illustrate the art of recovery. Mistakes happen. They're inevitable, especially under pressure, especially in a second language. What really sets a strong candidate apart isn't avoiding mistakes, but how gracefully and effectively you handle them when they occur. Sami's quick fix wasn't just correcting a fact, it powerfully demonstrated several really valued qualities: self-awareness, honesty, quick thinking, staying composed under pressure. These are crucial professional skills, arguably more impactful and memorable than some perfectly rehearsed, maybe even slightly fake answer to the weakness question would have been. It shows real-time problem-solving, emotional intelligence.
So what could have been awkward or a misstep really turned into this brilliant display of his character, his resilience, his wit.
Absolutely. Showcase resilience, adaptability, and real-time things vital in any dynamic job. For our listeners, this is critical. How can you prepare for the unexpected? Not by scripting everything, but by developing the mental agility, the emotional control, the self-awareness to turn potential stumbles into compelling demonstrations of character. It's about building that recovery muscle. Understanding that vulnerability, combined with honesty and trying to correct, can actually build trust in connection and connecting back to that human level. Sami's honesty, his humor, created this authentic bond with the interviewer that went beyond language barriers. Interviews aren't just ticking boxes, they're about personality, potential fit. What authentic parts of your personality, your motivations, humor, self-awareness can you genuinely bring to a formal setting to make that deeper connection? That's what makes you not just qualified, but truly memorable.
The waiting, the anticipation, that quiet hope. And then later that evening, sitting with Lina under that familiar tree, Sami's phone finally buzzes. The message. Simple, life-changing. Congratulations, Sami, you're selected.
Ooh.
The sheer relief, the pure joy must have been overwhelming. A physical release of all that tension, all that anxiety. The story says he just stared at the screen, then let out this raw, unfiltered scream of delight, made Lina jump.
It's such a visceral, authentic reaction. Success after intense effort and vulnerability. That moment of triumph, it's not just a happy ending. It's the direct result of his diligent preparation, his courage to step up despite doubt. It really underscores that success, especially in tough new situations, isn't magic or luck. It's the tangible fruit of hard work, perseverance, daring to leave your comfort zone. And Lina's immediate validation, I told you you were ready, reinforces that. Her earlier encouragement wasn't just words. She saw potential that was always there in Sami. Just needed unlocking through his effort and seizing the opportunity. It's where potential becomes reality.
And the narrator gives this beautiful, sweeping recap of Sami's whole journey. Turns his personal win into a universal lesson. From being scared to say hello, he changed, moved to helping others, then making friends across the world, and finally using English to earn his first job.
It's such a powerful, concise summary of a truly transformative journey, isn't it? It goes way beyond just learning a language. It's personal evolution.
That broader arc is absolutely crucial. It elevates Sami's story into this universal, inspiring message about empowerment and connection. It shows unequivocally that language learning English proficiency here goes beyond just academics or passing tests. It's a fundamental tool for deep personal empowerment, a key that unlocks a whole new world of opportunities for connection with different people, for significant personal growth, for real professional advancement like this internship did for Sami. It vividly shows how skills in one area, like English, can ripple out, impacting many parts of your life, social interactions, career path. It's about expanding your capabilities, your sphere of influence. And the grand message from the source ties it all together so eloquently. English isn't just for passing exams, but for speaking your truth, reaching your goals, and building your future. It's a really profound thought, isn't it? reframes the whole point of learning a language.
It is profound because it shifts the perspective entirely from obligation or academic requirement to aspiration and, well, self-actualization. Speaking your truth, that implies building the confidence, the authenticity to say what you think, express your values, be yourself without language holding you back. It's about self-expression, intellectual freedom. Reaching your goals suggests language is a tangible vehicle for achieving real objectives, getting that job, pursuing education, starting something new, and building your future points to the long-term transformative impact. How language skills can shape your whole life path, open doors you couldn't imagine before. For you, the listener, we really encourage you to pause and think deeply. What does speaking your truth, reaching your goals, building your future mean for you personally? What specific doors could improving your English or any skill you're working on realistically open in your own life and career? It's a powerful call to define and then deliberately build your own future through action.
Okay, let's just quickly recap. What an incredible deep dive into Sami's journey. We've seen the power of proactive, detailed preparation, the strength in practicing both with a partner and rigorously on your own, the grace in handling nerves and mistakes with humor and composure, and maybe most importantly, the huge impact of authenticity in those high-pressure moments. Sami's story is just this potent, tangible reminder that every small step, every mistake corrected, every bit of doubt overcome by courage, it really builds towards something remarkable.
Indeed, it's a powerful testament to the idea that real confidence isn't innate, it's built, cultivated through consistent, courageous action and effort. And the ability to recover from a slip-up, a moment of vulnerability, can often be far more impressive, more memorable than trying to achieve some impossible ideal of perfection. It shows real resilience, adaptability, genuine character.
And here's something really interesting to think about, something to take away after this deep dive ends. Remember Sami's surprising, heartfelt reason for wanting the internship. Beyond skills, beyond improving his English, he had this deeply personal desire to earn money to buy a special gift for his mother with his first salary. That was a deeply personal, incredibly powerful, motivating factor for him.
That underlying personal motivation, it's an utterly powerful driver,
Fair.
far more potent than anything on a resume. It's that unquantifiable why behind the what you do. It fuels persistence, gives clarity when you doubt, adds meaning to the effort.
So beyond the practical benefits of learning a new skill, like English or getting a job, we invite you to reflect. What personal, heartfelt gift, maybe it's a new connection you want, a sense of belonging, fulfilling a dream you've held on to, or just proving something to yourself. What gift are you truly working towards? By deepening your skills, pushing past your comfort zone, facing down your fears. Let Sami's story maybe light your path a bit. Encourage you to identify and really pursue those meaningful personal goals that will fuel your unique journey of growth and success.